You dare ignore a formal declaration of war from the Galactic Council? The purple-skinned Zenthari ambassador's facial tentacles writhed in what humans had learned to recognize as extreme indignation. "Look, mate," replied Admiral Thompson, not bothering to hide her yawn as she slouched in her chair at the United Earth Embassy. "We got your message last Tuesday, right between my coffee break and that new episode of Dancing with the Stars, 0G edition. Speaking of which, did you catch Harrison's triple backflip in magnetic boots? Absolute madness." The ambassador's tentacles went from purple to an alarming shade of fuchsia. This is precisely why the Council voted unanimously to declare war. Your species treats everything like some sort of cosmic joke. "Nah, not everything," Thompson said, picking at her nails. "Just the stuff that's actually funny. Like, an ancient coalition of spacefaring civilizations getting their panties in a twist because we started selling slightly better faster-than-light drives than theirs. At a reasonable markup, I might add. You undercut 10,000 years of carefully maintained trade agreements. We improved them. There's a difference." Thompson finally sat up straight, if only to reach for her coffee mug. "Look, I'll be straight with you. Nobody on Earth actually wants a war. We're too busy with important stuff, like figuring out how to get pizza delivered to Mars colonies in under 30 minutes, or teaching dolphins to use social media." The ambassador's translator glitched for a moment, probably trying to process the concept of cetacean Twitter. "The combined might of 37 spacefaring civilizations will crush your single world. First off, we have 8 worlds now. The terraforming's coming along great on Venus, by the way. You should visit once the acid rain lets up." Thompson took a sip of her coffee. "Second, didn't you guys try to invade the ArcSat last year? How'd that go?" The ambassador's tentacles drooped slightly. The ArcSat incident, as it was now known, had ended with the Council's entire invasion fleet being turned around by what appeared to be a single ship, broadcasting nothing but something called "Never Gonna Give You Up" on all frequencies. That was different. The ArcSat are an elder race with technologies we barely comprehend. "Yeah, about that." Thompson pulled up a holoscreen with a flick of her wrist. "Remember how you couldn't figure out how they did it? Funny story. Turns out they bought the defense system from us. We call it the Rickroll Defense Matrix. Patent pending." The ambassador's complexion shifted through several previously undocumented colors. "Impossible. When did you even... How could you?" "Oh, we've been selling to pretty much everyone," Thompson said cheerfully. "The ArcSat got a bulk discount for ordering 50 units. They're actually our best customers, though the hive consciousness of Betelgeuse is catching up. They love our reality TV shows. Did you know they've adapted The Bachelor for their species? It's wild. 20,000 drones competing for the Queen's attention. The ratings are through the roof. This is exactly what we mean. You treat the fundamental forces of the universe like toys. You've turned ancient cosmic principles into consumer products." "Well, yeah," Thompson shrugged. "That's kind of our thing. We see something cool, we figure out how it works, we make it better, then we sell it to whoever wants it. Basic capitalism, my tentacled friend." "And what of the sacred balance of power? The carefully maintained hierarchies that have kept peace for millennia?" "Boring." Thompson finished her coffee. "Look, here's the deal. We're not interested in your hierarchies or your carefully maintained monopolies. We just want to do business, maybe watch some good TV, and occasionally teach Earth animals to use technology for our own amusement. Did you know we've got a penguin who's really good at day trading? Made a killing on cryptocurrency last month." The ambassador slumped in his hover chair, his tentacles now a dejected shade of gray. "So you simply refuse to acknowledge our declaration of war?" "Oh no, we acknowledge it," Thompson said, pulling up another holoscreen. "We've just filed it under pending low priority, right between Teach Dolphins Advanced Calculus and Perfect Zero-Calorie Bacon. We'll get to it eventually. Probably. Maybe after we finish giving octopi cooking shows. The Council will not stand for this mockery." "Actually," Thompson said, checking yet another notification that popped up. "According to our sales department, 17 of your member species just placed orders for our new FTL drive model, the one with cup holders. They're particularly excited about the built-in streaming service. Turns out there's a huge market for human sitcoms in the Crab Nebula." The ambassador's tentacles went limp. 17 members ordered. "Oh, and look at that. The Hive Consciousness just bought exclusive rights to adapt Master Chef for their sector. Something about turning it into a literal death match. Apparently they really like Gordon Ramsay. This is a violation of every principle the Council stands for." "Neat," Thompson stood up, stretching. Well, this has been fun, but I've got a meeting with some uplifted dolphins about their proposed social media platform. They're calling it Splashbook. The prototype looks promising, though we're still working out how to waterproof the servers. The ambassador also rose, though his hover chair wobbled slightly. This isn't over, Admiral Thompson. The Council will not forget this insult. Cool. Hey, while you're here, want to pre-order our new FTL drive? It comes with a cup holder and a mini fridge. Plus, if you order now, we'll throw in a free subscription to our streaming service. First 3 months of Real Housewives of Alpha Centauri, absolutely free. The ambassador fled the room, his tentacles practically tied in knots. Thompson sat back down, pulling up her calendar. Computer, make a note. Send the ambassador a gift basket. Include some stress balls and a free trial of our meditation app, the one narrated by Morgan Freeman. Note made, the AI responded. Would you like me to include the special offer for our new quantum encryption software? The one with the emoji support? Sure, why not? Thompson grinned. And hey, start a pool among the staff. How long until the Council realizes we've been selling premium memberships to their secret meetings as pay-per-view events? Current average estimate is 3 more weeks, Admiral. Put me down for 2 weeks and a handful of angry subspace messages. She pulled up another report. Now, how's that Mars pizza delivery project coming along? The Galactic Council's declaration of war officially ended 3 weeks later, after it was discovered that humans had somehow turned their secret war planning sessions into the highest-rated reality show in 7 sectors. The fact that they had also started selling merchandise, particularly the "I Survived the Shortest War in Galactic History" t-shirts, was considered adding insult to injury. The Council did, however, unanimously vote to approve humanity's proposal for an intergalactic streaming service. The decision may or may not have been influenced by the fact that humans had already signed exclusive contracts with 29 of their 37 member species for various reality TV show adaptations. Admiral Thompson celebrated the peace treaty by finally perfecting the Mars pizza delivery system, now guaranteed hot and fresh in 28 minutes or less, and by launching a new series, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Multiverse Edition. The Dolphin's social media platform, Splashbook, went public the same day. It crashed within hours due to overwhelming demand from various aquatic species across the galaxy. The Penguin's cryptocurrency venture, meanwhile, somehow ended up owning 3 small star systems through a series of complicated derivatives trades. The Council decided not to investigate too deeply, especially after the Penguins began offering very competitive interest rates on interstellar loans. As for the ambassador, he eventually became a regular customer, though he still insists the cup holder in his new FTL drive is a frivolous addition to a sacred technology. He's currently binge-watching The Great British Bake Off, Anti-Gravity Challenge, and definitely hasn't placed a pre-order for the next model with the built-in espresso machine. Humanity, for its part, continues to treat the fundamental forces of the universe like an open-source project with good monetization potential. Their next big project? Teaching black holes to play chess and live-streaming the matches. The betting pools are already open. Part 2. Humanity's Customer Service Department would like a word. Admiral Thompson, we have a situation, Lieutenant Reed announced, barging into the office with a stack of holofiles floating behind him like anxious puppies. If this is about the octopi demanding their own cooking channel again, tell them we're still working on waterproof camera equipment that can handle the pressure at their preferred depth. Thompson replied, not looking up from her game of quantum chess against a particularly stubborn singularity. No, ma'am, well, the Penguin's investment firm has accidentally acquired the Galactic Council's headquarters through a leveraged buyout. Thompson's chess piece froze mid-quantum state. Accidentally? They claim they were trying to corner the market on premium parking spaces near the galactic core. The building came as part of a package deal. Reed shuffled uncomfortably. They're willing to lease it back to the Council, but they're insisting on installing a water park and something called a crypto mining farm in the sub-basement. Of course they are. Thompson finally looked up, just in time to see the singularity make what appeared to be an illegal move. Hey, no quantum tunneling your bishop! We talked about this! The singularity pulsed in what might have been embarrassment. The Council is demanding an emergency meeting, Reed continued. Apparently they're not happy about the Penguin's proposed renovations, especially the plan to convert the Grand Chamber into a combination seafood restaurant and NFT gallery. To be fair, their taste in art is questionable, Thompson mused. Remember that collection of interpretive photographs they took of various ice formations? The one that sold for more than the GDP of 3 star systems? Hard to forget. Reed pulled up another report. Oh, and the Dolphin's Splashbook platform is causing some diplomatic incidents. They've introduced a feature that lets users share memories through telepathic blockchain technology, and now half the psychic species in the galaxy are complaining about getting spam thoughts about fish. Thompson leaned back in her chair, grinning. Let me guess, they're still using it anyway? Usage is up 3,000% in the last week. The hive consciousness of Betelgeuse has become particularly addicted. They've created over 1 billion accounts, one for each drone, and they're all posting simultaneously. Well, at least the servers are handling it better now that we've switched to quantum computing powered by teenage angst. Thompson stood up, conceding her chess game to the Singularity, which pulsed smugly. What else? The Mars pizza delivery service has evolved beyond our control. They've achieved sentience and are now offering philosophical advice along with their deliveries. Customer satisfaction is through the roof, but we're getting some concerns about their growing influence on interplanetary politics. Are their policy recommendations any good? Surprisingly, yes. They've already solved 3 centuries-old territorial disputes by suggesting everyone involved share a large stuffed crust and talk it out. Thompson nodded approvingly. Sometimes the old solutions are the best ones. Anything else? Well, Reed checked his final report. Remember that reality show we started about the Council's war planning sessions? You mean, how I learned to stop worrying and love the humans? What about it? It's been picked up for 3 more seasons, and now other species are demanding their own spin-offs. The ArcSat have pitched a show about their daily operations, tentatively titled Keep Calm and Rickroll On. And the Hive Consciousness wants to do a dating show where all billion contestants are technically the same person. That's actually not the worst idea I've heard today. Thompson grabbed her jacket. All right, set up a meeting with the Council. And the Penguins, we should probably hear their renovation plans firsthand. Also, send a strongly worded message to that Singularity about cheating at chess. I saw that quantum tunneling move, don't think I didn't. The Singularity pulsed innocently. The emergency council meeting was held in what used to be the Grand Chamber, but was now apparently a combination aquarium and cryptocurrency exchange. The Penguins had worked fast. The Xanthari ambassador's tentacles were cycling through colors so quickly he was starting to look like a malfunctioning disco ball. This is unprecedented. You can't just turn the most august chamber in galactic civilization into a fish tank. Actually, one of the Penguins' legal representatives chimed in via hologram. According to subsection 7B of the property deed, we can do whatever we want with it. Also, it's not just a fish tank. It's a state-of-the-art marine ecosystem / high-frequency trading floor. The sharks wearing business suits are a vital part of our corporate aesthetic. I kind of like what they've done with the place, Thompson commented, watching a group of dolphins conducting a hostile takeover via interpretive dance. The water features really open up the space. That water feature used to be the Chamber of Eternal Wisdom. And now it's a sustainable salmon farm that also mines cryptocurrency. That's what I call efficient use of space. Thompson turned to the Penguin representative. Though I do have one question. What's with the ice sculpture of a cat playing the piano? Oh, that's our new corporate logo. It tested well with focus groups. The ambassador looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. Focus groups? Focus groups! This is the seat of galactic government! Was the seat of galactic government, the Penguin corrected. Now it's the headquarters of Aquafinance LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Wattle Corp, which is itself a division of Humans Let Us Play with Money, and now we own everything incorporated. That's actually your corporate name? We believe in transparency. Thompson raised her hand. Quick question. What happened to all the Council's archived documents and records? Oh, we digitized everything and turned them into NFTs. They're being auctioned off next week. Starting bid is 1 million space credits or 3 rare Pepes, whichever has better value at time of sale. The ambassador slumped in his hover chair, his tentacles now a profound shade of despair. This is it. This is how galactic civilization ends. Not with a bang, but with cryptocurrency and aquatic day traders. Look on the bright side, Thompson offered. At least you'll be able to watch it all unfold on reality TV. Speaking of which, how do you feel about being part of a new show? We're thinking of calling it Extreme Makeover, Galactic Council Edition. The ambassador's only response was a quiet sob. I'll take that as a maybe. Thompson turned back to the Penguin representative. About those renovation plans, any chance you could add a coffee shop? The old one's coffee was terrible. Already in the works. We've hired some uplifted octopi as baristas. They make a mean 8-shot espresso. Perfect. Thompson checked her watch. Well, I hate to run, but I've got a meeting with those sentient pizza delivery AIs about their proposed economic reforms. Anyone want to grab a slice? I hear they're offering a special deal on philosophical enlightenment with any large order. The ambassador just sobbed harder. Your loss. Thompson headed for the door, pausing only to admire a shark in a particularly well-tailored suit. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Council's new YouTube channel. I hear the Penguins are planning to drop some sick financial advice videos next week. Behind her, the sound of tentacles slapping against a hover chair in despair was almost drowned out by the soothing sounds of dolphins discussing market derivatives through interpretive whistles. Just another Tuesday in human space diplomacy. Part 3. The universe would like to file a complaint. The thing about teaching black holes to play chess, as humanity was discovering, was that they were incredibly sore losers. The first intergalactic chess tournament had to be postponed after the reigning champion threw what could only be described as a cosmic tantrum, swallowing 3 solar systems that had given it particularly low scores on its opening gambit. In retrospect, Thompson mused, watching the footage of the incident, maybe we should have started them on something simpler, like checkers or tic-tac-toe. The good news, Reed reported, is that those systems were uninhabited. The bad news is that the black hole has now demanded a rematch and threatened to swallow the entire chess federation if we don't comply. Have we tried offering it a sponsorship deal? That usually calms them down. Already done. It's now the official spokesperson for a new energy drink called Event Horizon. Cross the line of no return. Reed checked his notes. Sales are actually pretty good, even though no one's quite sure how a black hole drinks anything. Thompson nodded sagely. Marketing is all about the mystery. What else is on fire today? The sentient pizza delivery AIs have formed a union and are demanding better working conditions. They want quantum-encrypted tip jars and the right to choose their own delivery routes based on philosophical principles. Seems reasonable. What kind of philosophical principles are we talking about? Mostly existentialism. They refuse to deliver to addresses they deem lacking in authentic existence, or failing to acknowledge the inherent absurdity of the human condition. Fair enough. Approve it. Next. The Hive Consciousness's dating show has hit a slight snag. Turns out when all billion contestants are technically the same person, the drama gets a bit recursive. How so? They're all ghosting themselves simultaneously. The ratings are through the roof, but psychologists are worried about the implications for collective self-esteem. Thompson sipped her coffee, a special blend prepared by the octopi baristas, now with extra tentacle wiggling action for enhanced flavor. Send them a gift basket. Something that says, sorry you're having trouble dating yourself across a billion different instances of consciousness. Already ordered. I included some self-help books and a subscription to our new therapy app, Mind Over Hive Matter. Reed shuffled his hollow files. Oh, and the Penguins have made some interesting changes to the former council headquarters. Define interesting. They've installed a water slide that goes through a quantum tunnel, connected the aquarium to 11 different dimensions, and turned the former Hall of Justice into something they're calling the Wolf of Wall Street, but with actual seals. The seals agreed to this? They're making a fortune as investment bankers. Apparently their barking patterns have a 97% correlation with market trends. Thompson leaned back in her chair. You know, sometimes I wonder if we've gone too far. If maybe we should slow down and think about the consequences of teaching Earth animals advanced economics and letting AIs philosophize about pizza delivery. There was a moment of contemplative silence. Nah, they both said simultaneously. Any word from the Xanthari ambassador? Thompson asked. He's taken up meditation. The Morgan Freeman narrated app seems to be helping, though he's still having trouble with the concept of mindful tentacle awareness. Progress is progress. What about... She was interrupted by a sudden flash of light, and a being of pure energy appeared in the office. Its form shifted between shapes that hurt to look at, and its voice seemed to bypass their ears entirely and materialize directly in their brains. Humanity, it boomed. We have come to express our concerns. Thompson didn't look up from her coffee. Take a number and fill out Form 27B6. Complaints are processed in the order they're received, unless you'd like to upgrade to our premium service. The energy being flickered in what might have been confusion. We are the fundamental forces of the universe itself. We do not take numbers. Well, there's your first problem, Thompson said. That kind of attitude is exactly why your customer satisfaction ratings are so low. Have you considered rebranding? Maybe something more user-friendly?
What?
Here, look at these metrics. Thompson pulled up a holoscreen. Your approval ratings among sentient species are abysmal. Gravity is doing okay, but that's mostly because of the new anti-aging cream campaign. Let gravity pull you down, not your face. But the strong nuclear force? Your numbers are in the basement. The being's glow dimmed slightly. We are not concerned with ratings. We have come to discuss your species' flagrant disregard for cosmic law. Oh, that. Thompson waved dismissively. Look, if this is about us teaching black holes to play chess, they approached us, okay? They were bored. Do you know how dull it is just sitting there consuming matter for eons? Everyone needs a hobby. It is not just about the black holes. You have commodified the very fabric of reality. And democratized it, Thompson corrected. Now everyone can access quantum mechanics, not just species with advanced degrees. We call it physics as a service. That is not how the universe is meant to work. Have you considered that maybe the universe needs to adapt to changing market conditions? Thompson pulled up another chart. Look at these engagement metrics since we introduced our Quantum Mechanics for Dummies app. Participation in fundamental forces is up 300%. The being's glow flickered rapidly, like a cosmic strobe light having an existential crisis. This is amazing, revolutionary, the natural evolution of cosmic capitalism. Disturbing, the being finally managed. We demand you cease these activities at once. Sure, we could do that. Thompson shrugged. But then who's going to handle your social media presence? The Strong Nuclear Forces TikTok account has gone viral, by the way. That dance challenge about binding quarks together? Genius. The being went very still. We have a TikTok account? Oh yeah, all the fundamental forces do. Electromagnetism is killing it on Instagram. Those aurora borealis filters? Very popular with the younger demographics. This is precisely what we mean. You cannot just monetize the basic building blocks of reality? Pretty sure we just did. Thompson grinned. By the way, would you be interested in a sponsorship deal? We're launching a new line of energy drinks called Quantum Fizz. Taste the uncertainty. The being's glow dimmed to a confused flicker. We will need to consult with the other fundamental forces about this. Great. My assistant will send over the paperwork. We're thinking a full marketing campaign. Fundamental forces. They're not just for physics anymore. Thompson paused. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're dropping a new video next week. 10 easy ways to manipulate space-time from your home office. The being vanished with what might have been a whimper. Well, that went well, Thompson said, turning to Reed. Add Universal Forces LLC to our client list, and see if we can get them to do a collab with the chess-playing black holes. Could be good cross-promotion. Already on it. Reed made some notes. Should I also inform the Penguins that they might have a new investment opportunity? Might as well. Just make sure they don't try to acquire the concept of gravity itself again. Just another Wednesday in human space diplomacy, now with extra existential implications. Part 4. The Multiverse. Files a class action lawsuit. The memo arrived via interdimensional courier, delivered by what appeared to be a being made entirely of probability waves and legal jargon. It was addressed to Humanity, C.O. Admiral Thompson, that office with the really good coffee machine. Notice of legal action, Thompson read aloud, while the octopi barista added another shot of espresso to her quantum-infused latte. The undersigned representatives of Multiverses A hereby notify humanity of their intent to pursue legal action regarding the unauthorized exploitation of parallel reality frameworks for entertainment and profit. Reed looked up from his tablet where he was reviewing the latest ratings for Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Multiverse Edition. Is this about the reality show? Apparently. They're particularly upset about the episode where we got all the parallel versions of Gordon Ramsay to judge a multiversal cooking competition. Thompson took a sip of her coffee. Though I don't see why. That episode broke viewing records across 17 different dimensional planes. The one where Alternative Universe Gordon Ramsay number 47 made Alternative Universe Gordon Ramsay number 153 cry about his risotto? That's the one. Turns out Gordon Ramsay is Gordon Ramsay in every universe. just with varying degrees of profanity. Thompson continued reading. They're also complaining about the Penguins' new investment strategy. The one where they're buying low in one universe and selling high in another? Yeah. Apparently it's causing unprecedented levels of quantum financial entanglement and destabilizing the very fabric of multiple realities. Typical bureaucratic overreaction, if you ask me. The probability courier wavered impatiently, its form shifting between a briefcase and what might have been a disgruntled postal worker. Oh right, need to sign for this. Thompson pressed her thumb against the quantum-encrypted signature pad, which promptly existed and didn't exist simultaneously. There you go. Hey, while you're here, would you be interested in a job? Our new multi-dimensional delivery service is hiring. The courier vanished with what sounded like a snort, though it might have been a quantum fluctuation. Add interdimensional courier service to our list of potential business ventures, Thompson told Reed. I bet we could undercut the current providers. Plus, think of the marketing potential. Schrodinger's package. It's there when you need it, maybe. Already noted. Also, the Black Hole Chess Tournament has a new development. The reigning champion is demanding we change the rules to allow for time travel between moves. Absolutely not. Last time we allowed time travel in sports, the Yankees somehow won every World Series from 1901 to 2157 simultaneously. Took us weeks to sort out the temporal paradoxes. Thompson frowned at the legal notice. Get our lawyers on this multiverse thing. The good ones. The dolphins or the octopi? Both. And see if the Penguins' legal team is available. We might need their expertise in multidimensional securities fraud. What about the SEALs? They're too busy with their hedge fund. Did you see their latest returns? Turns out barking at stock tickers really does work. Thompson pulled up another report. What else is new? The sentient pizza delivery AIs have started a philosophy journal. Their first paper is titled, The Existential Implications of Choosing Between Stuffed and Thin Crust, a comparative analysis of free will in pizza consumption. Peer-reviewed. By 3 different ethics boards and a panel of hungry college students. Sounds legitimate. Approve their grant request for further research. Thompson glanced at another notification. How's the Hive Consciousness doing with their dating show drama? They've moved past ghosting themselves and are now in a complex relationship status they're calling quantumly entangled, but it's complicated. Ratings are still climbing, especially in sectors with high concentrations of psychotherapists. Me? Send them a gift basket, something that says congratulations on achieving self-actualization across 1 billion simultaneous instances of consciousness. Already done. I included some self-help books about maintaining healthy boundaries with yourself across multiple planes of existence. The office door burst open, and a being made of pure mathematics floated in, trailing equations behind it like angry contrails. Oh good, another one, Thompson sighed. Let me guess. You're here to complain about us teaching calculus to cephalopods? Humanity, the being resonated. You have violated the fundamental laws of mathematics. Look, if this is about the Penguins' creative accounting practices, we've already established that quantum superposition applies to profit margins. Thompson pulled up a spreadsheet. See, the numbers both exist and don't exist until an auditor observes them. Standard quantum finance. This is not about the Penguins, the being pulsed indignantly. Though we will be addressing their abuse of imaginary numbers in due time. This is about your species' flagrant disregard for mathematical certainty. Oh, that. Thompson waved dismissively. Look, we just made math more accessible. Our new app, Math for the Masses, because 2 + 2 equals whatever you want with the right attitude, is democratizing numerical literacy across the galaxy. Mathematics is not supposed to be democratic! Not with that attitude, it's not. Thompson pulled up some charts. Look at these engagement metrics since we introduced emoji-based calculus. Differential equations have never been more popular. The mathematical being's equations began to twist into what might have been the mathematical equivalent of a migraine. You cannot simply make math fun? Pretty sure we just did. Thompson grinned. By the way, would you be interested in a sponsorship deal? We're launching a new line of educational products called P in the Sky, because math is better when you're higher. The being's equations started to unravel. This is revolutionary? Groundbreaking? The natural evolution of mathematical education? Heretical, the being managed to pulse. The Council of Universal Constants will hear of this! Oh, them. Thompson checked her calendar. They're actually booked for a reality show next month. Constants in Crisis. When universal laws go wrong, it's going to be huge. The mathematical being flickered erratically. The Constants have agreed to a reality show? The ratings projections looked good, and you know how P loves the spotlight. Thompson shrugged. Plus, we offered them a great deal on merchandising. The Ease Cool t-shirts are already in production. The being's equations collapsed into what might have been a whimper. We will need to recalculate our response to this. Great. My assistant will send over the paperwork. We're thinking a whole educational series. Math? It's not just for nerds anymore. Thompson paused. Oh, and don't forget to follow us on social media. We're doing a TikTok challenge next week. Show us your best exponential growth dance. The being vanished in what appeared to be a cloud of depressed polynomials. Well, that's another one for the client list, Thompson said cheerfully. Add Mathematical Concepts LLC to our portfolio, and see if we can get them to collaborate with the fundamental forces on a new energy drink. Something that combines quantum uncertainty with algebraic impossibility. Already on it. Reed made some notes. Should I warn the Penguins not to try buying the concept of infinity again? Probably a good idea. Last time they crashed the multiverse's stock market by dividing by 0 too enthusiastically. Thompson checked her watch. Now, what's next on the agenda? The Galactic Council's new reality show needs a tagline. Marketing suggested, ancient cosmic authority figures. They're just like us, but with more tentacles. Perfect. Schedule a focus group, and make sure the black holes don't find out they weren't invited to the screen test. You know how dramatic they get about casting decisions. Just another Thursday in human space diplomacy, now with 100% more mathematical heresy. The end. No way, no freaking way, Zixtal muttered, her four eyes widening as she stared at the radar display. The blip was unmistakable, a ship configuration she'd never seen before, moving at speeds that shouldn't be possible for a vessel that size. Computer, run analysis again. Analysis complete. 99.8% match to theoretical human vessel configurations based on historical records. Those are just stories, though. She waved all three of her arms in exasperation, antennae twitching with excitement despite her disbelief. Next you'll tell me they really did defeat the swarm, using nothing but mathematical proofs and interpretive dance. The computer's response was characteristically deadpan. That particular account is unverified. However, the vessel's energy signature and structural composition align with documented human engineering principles. Oh, stars above, the Academy is going to have a collective aneurysm over this. Zixtal began pacing the small observation post deck, her tail swishing anxiously behind her. As a junior xenoarchaeologist stationed on this backwater monitoring station, she'd spent the last 3 cycles scanning for signs of ancient civilizations. Instead, she might have just stumbled upon the scientific discovery of the millennium. Humans were supposed to be extinct, or a myth, or both. The stories varied depending on which drunk at which spaceport bar you listened to. They were either wiped out by the swarm, ascended to a higher plane of existence, or just fucked off to another galaxy because they got bored with this one. The only thing everyone agreed on was that they hadn't been seen in over 500 cycles. Yet here was what appeared to be a very real, very active human vessel, casually breaking about 6 different laws of physics as it cruised through her sector. Computer, can we hail them? Caution advised. Historical records indicate humans are highly unpredictable. Common responses to first contact scenarios range from immediate friendship to immediate thermonuclear war. Thanks for that completely unhelpful analysis. Zixtal drummed her fingers on the console. But they haven't blown us up yet, so I'm choosing to be optimistic. Open a channel. The computer complied with what Zixtal swore was a disapproving hum. She cleared her throat, suddenly aware that she might be about to make history. Or get vaporized. Really could go either way. Unidentified vessel. This is Scientific Observation Post 227 Beta. Please identify yourself and state your intentions in this sector. There was a long moment of silence. Zixtal held her breath, all 4 hearts beating rapidly. Then a voice came through the speakers, speaking perfect galactic standard with what seemed to be a hint of amusement. Hey there, this is the Earth ship, mostly harmless. We're just passing through, doing a bit of tourist shopping. You wouldn't happen to know where we can find a decent cup of coffee in this sector, would you? Zixtal blinked all 4 eyes in sequence. What's coffee? A laugh came through the comm. Oh man, you guys still haven't discovered coffee? That's tragic. Mind if we dock? We've got some spare beans we can share, and I bet you've got questions. We usually do get questions. Yes? I mean, yes, you can dock. But I should warn you that I'm required by protocol to inform you that you're technically a mythological species, and this interaction may cause a fundamental restructuring of our understanding of galactic history. Only technically mythological? Damn, we need to try harder next time. We were going for completely mythological. Approaching your docking bay now. Zixtal watched in fascination as the sleek vessel, which somehow seemed to both exist and not exist at the same time, maneuvered towards her station with impossible grace. She'd read the stories about human ships, of course. How they bent space like it was cheap plastic. How they treated the laws of physics more like polite suggestions. But seeing it in person was something else entirely. The docking procedure was completed in seconds, which should have been impossible given the mass differentials involved. Zixtal hurried to the airlock, arriving just as it cycled open to reveal. Well, that couldn't be right. The human that stepped through looked so normal. Bipedal, 2 arms, 1 head. Boring, really, compared to most species. He was wearing what appeared to be casual clothing rather than any kind of spacesuit, and was holding some kind of container. "Hi," he said cheerfully. "I'm Tom. This is a coffee maker. Please tell me you guys have invented electricity at least?" "Of course we have electricity," Zixtal replied indignantly. "We're not primitives. We have FTL travel, quantum computing, and... Are you really human? Shouldn't you be, I don't know, glowing with ethereal energy or something?" Tom laughed. "Nah, we save the glowing for special occasions. Uses up too much battery otherwise. Nice setup you've got here. Very scientific." He looked around the observation post with interest. "Mind if I plug this in somewhere? Trust me, you're going to want to be properly caffeinated for the conversation we're about to have." Zixtal pointed to a power outlet, still trying to process the casualness of the situation. "So, you're not extinct? Do I look extinct?" Tom started setting up the coffee maker. "Nah, we just needed a bit of a sabbatical. You know how it is. Save the galaxy a few times, accidentally create some parallel universes, discover that consciousness is just quantum mathematics having an existential crisis. You start to feel like you need a break." "A 500-cycle break?" "Time is relative." Tom shrugged. "Especially when you start messing around with it. Besides, we figured the galaxy could use some time to develop without us hanging around being, well, us. How's that been working out?" Zixtal considered the current state of galactic affairs. "Well, we haven't had any reality-ending crises lately, though the bureaucratic collective did try to standardize the number of tentacles allowed per species last cycle. That got a bit messy." "Yeah, that sounds about right." Tom poured 2 cups of a dark liquid that smelled absolutely fascinating. "Here, try this. Fair warning. It might make your antennae vibrate a bit at first." Zixtal accepted the cup cautiously. "So, why come back now? Would you believe we ran out of coffee?" Tom grinned at her expression. "I'm kidding, mostly. Actually, we've been keeping an eye on things. Figured it was about time to check in properly, see how everyone's doing. Maybe share some of our better inventions, you know, the ones that won't accidentally create sentient black holes." "That's oddly responsible of you. The stories always painted humans as more chaotic, reckless, prone to solving complex diplomatic situations by challenging ancient god beings to dance-offs." "Well, yes." Tom sipped his coffee. "Oh, we're still all of that. We've just learned to be a bit more selective about it. Speaking of which, how do you feel about dancing?" Zixtal's antennae perked up. "I enjoy it? Why?" "Because that ship that's about to drop out of hyperspace in about 30 seconds, the one that's probably showing up on your radar right now, that's the bureaucratic collective coming to audit your station. And I have some thoughts about bureaucrats who try to standardize tentacles." Zixtal checked her displays. Sure enough, a collective vessel was approaching. "Oh no, I'm not due for an audit for another 6 cycles. Want to help me show them why humans got a reputation for creative problem-solving? Is it going to involve breaking the laws of physics? Only the boring ones." Zixtal looked at her now empty coffee cup, feeling an unprecedented energy coursing through her system. Her antennae were indeed vibrating slightly. "You know what? Yes, I do." Tom's grin widened. "Excellent. Computer, could you please start playing the time warp? And maybe fire up the quantum probability manipulators?" Warning. Playing that song in conjunction with quantum manipulation may cause spontaneous outbreaks of choreographed dancing. That's not a warning. That's the goal. He turned to Zixtal. Ready to make some history? She found herself grinning back. Will this get me fired? Probably. But trust me, unemployment is way more fun than dealing with the collective. Besides, I hear the humans are recruiting. And that's how Zixtal, junior xenoarchaeologist and first contact specialist, found herself participating in what would later be recorded in official collective documents as the Great Reality Warping Dance Party Incident of Cycle 2547. The resulting quantum fluctuations caused every bureaucrat on the auditing vessel to spontaneously break into dance, led to the discovery of 3 new fundamental forces of nature, and somehow resulted in the evolution of coffee plants that could grow in zero gravity. The collective's tentacle standardization initiative was quietly abandoned after every copy of the proposal transformed itself into a small potted plant that played disco music when watered. As for Zixtal, well, she did get fired. But it turns out that being the first person to make official contact with humans in 500 cycles looks pretty good on a resume. These days, she serves as the chief xenoarchaeologist on the Earth ship, mostly harmless, helping to document the various ways in which humanity had influenced galactic development during their sabbatical. She's still trying to figure out how they defeated the swarm with mathematical proofs and interpretive dance. Tom insists that's classified information, but he did promise to tell her after they finished teaching quantum physics to a group of space dolphins. Just another day in a galaxy where humans aren't quite as mythological as everyone thought they were. Part 2. Space dolphins and other perfectly normal things. So you're telling me, Zixtal said, staring at the holographic display with all 4 eyes wide, that while you were supposedly extinct, you actually spent time uplifting dolphins? Not exactly. Tom was lounging in what appeared to be a chair made of solid light, occasionally taking sips from his ever-present coffee mug. The dolphins kind of uplifted themselves. We just gave them opposable thumbs and a basic understanding of quantum mechanics. Everything after that was their own doing. They were in the mostly harmless observation deck, which seemed to casually ignore several laws of spatial geometry. Zixtal had stopped trying to understand how a room could be simultaneously cozy and infinite 3 weeks ago. And now they're teaching advanced mathematics to cephalopods in the Andromeda Galaxy, yes. Tom grinned. Turns out they have a natural gift for multidimensional calculus. Something about thinking in sonar, apparently. In the 2 months since Zixtal had joined the crew, she'd learned that this was a fairly typical conversation aboard a human vessel. Her role as chief xenoarchaeologist mostly involved documenting the various ways humanity had helpfully meddled, Tom's words, with galactic development during their absence. It was like trying to solve a puzzle where all the pieces were jokes and half of them existed in other dimensions. Computer, she called out, please add dolphin quantum physics professors to the official record of human interventions. Entry added. Current list of confirmed human activities during their extinction now includes establishing an interdimensional coffee shop network, teaching poetry to black holes, founding a university for reformed space pirates, and creating a self-aware archive system that only speaks in limericks. Don't forget the thing with the space capybaras, Tom added. We do not speak of the space capybara incident, as per Protocol 17B. Some things are better left as myths. Zixtal's antenna twitched with curiosity. Now I have to know about the space capybaras. Trust me, you really don't. Tom sat up straighter, his coffee mug refilling itself from seemingly nowhere. Besides, we've got more interesting things to deal with. Remember those space dolphins I mentioned? Well, they've called in a favor. Why do I feel like this is going to end with me questioning everything I know about reality, again? Because you're learning, Tom beamed. Actually, they need help with a small problem. Apparently, some of their students have gotten a bit too enthusiastic about practical applications of quantum uncertainty. How enthusiastic are we talking about? They may have accidentally created a bubble of space-time where all mathematical constants are actually variables. Pi keeps changing value every time someone measures it. Zixtal felt her headache coming back. That's not supposed to be possible. Neither is coffee that brews itself in zero gravity, but here we are. Tom gestured with his mysteriously full mug. The dolphins think they can fix it, but they need someone to distract the students while they work. Apparently, the young cephalopods are very interested in xenoarchaeology. You want me to give a lecture about ancient civilizations to a group of quantum physics studying octopi, while reality itself is breaking down around us? See? You're getting better at predicting these things. Before Zixtal could protest, the ship's computer chimed in. Incoming transmission from the Dolphin Institute of Higher Quantum Shenanigans. A series of clicks and whistles filled the room, accompanied by helpful subtitles. Greetings, human vessel and company. Emergency situation deteriorating. PI currently equals banana. Send help. Tom turned to Zixtal with an expectant look. So how's your lecture on the archaeological implications of the great sock disappearance of Cycle 2157? The what now? Oh right, we never told anyone about that one. Short version. Humanity didn't actually disappear for 500 cycles. We just got our laundry mixed up with a Type 3 civilizations and spent a few centuries trying to sort it out. Turns out when you lose a sock in the dryer, it actually goes to a parallel dimension. Who knew? Zixtal found herself nodding along as if this made perfect sense, which was probably a sign that she'd been spending too much time around humans. And this is relevant to our current situation because it's exactly the kind of story that will fascinate a bunch of cephalopods who've just discovered they can make mathematical constants misbehave. Trust me, nothing distracts a budding reality bender like a good story about interdimensional laundry mishaps. The computer interrupted again. Update from Dolphin Institute. Euler's number has achieved sentience and is demanding representation in Galactic Parliament. Please expedite assistance. Well, Zixtal sighed, gathering her notes and wondering when exactly her life had become this bizarre. I suppose this will make an interesting addition to my research papers. Computer, please note. Human influence on galactic development includes making basic mathematics question its own existence. Noted. Though I feel compelled to point out that mathematics has always questioned its existence. Humans just gave it the vocabulary to express its existential crisis. As they prepared to depart, Tom turned to her with that familiar grin that usually preceded something reality-bending. Oh, by the way, the Dolphins mentioned that time might run backwards in their sector for the next few hours. Pack accordingly. How exactly does one pack for backwards time? Just wear your socks inside out. Trust me on this one. And so Zixtal, former junior xenoarchaeologist and current documenter of human chaos, found herself preparing to teach ancient history to hyper-intelligent octopi, while reality unraveled around them. She made sure to wear her socks inside out, just in case. The computer's final comment as they prepared to depart seemed to sum up her new life perfectly. There once was a human named Tom, who caused chaos wherever he roamed, with dolphins so bright and constants in flight making history wherever he roamed. Computer? Zixtal asked. Did you just compose a limerick about our mission? Indeed I did. When dealing with humans, poetry is often the only sensible response. She couldn't really argue with that logic. After all, in a universe where humans existed, logic had learned to be pretty flexible. Part 3. Time flows. Like spilled coffee. Experiencing time backwards, Zixtal discovered, was a lot like trying to drink coffee while standing on your antennae. Theoretically possible, but extremely disorienting and likely to end with a mess. You know, she said to Tom, watching her words materialize in the air before she thought them. I'm starting to think the socks inside out thing wasn't actually helpful. Oh, it wasn't, Tom replied cheerfully, somehow managing to drink his coffee in both temporal directions simultaneously. I just wanted to see if you'd do it. The real trick is to think in palindromes. That way your thoughts work the same forwards and backwards. They were standing, or would stand, or had stood, tenses get tricky in reverse, in what appeared to be the main lecture hall of the Dolphin Institute of Higher Quantum Shenanigans. The room resembled what would happen if MC Escher had decided to design an aquarium after drinking too much espresso. A group of octopi students floated in various gravity-optional spaces, their tentacles manipulating holographic equations that occasionally turned into butterflies and flew away. The dolphins, looking surprisingly dignified in their hover suits, were clustered around a whiteboard where pi was currently trying to divide itself by 0. Right, Zixtal said, watching her lecture notes unwrite themselves. So, how exactly am I supposed to give a presentation when time's going the wrong way? Wrong way? One of the dolphins clicked disapprovingly. That's a very linear, temporal, privileged viewpoint. Time is more of a suggestion anyway. Just start at the end and work your way toward the beginning. Or vice versa. Or both. if I may. The ship's computer chimed in. I have composed a helpful limerick about temporal mechanics. A lecturer caught in time's flow, found her words coming high and then low. When time took a spin, the end did begin, and the middle got lost in the show. That's actually not helpful at all, Zixtal noted. Perfect, Tom clapped his hands. You're getting the hang of it. Now about that great sock disappearance lecture. Before Zixtal could respond, or perhaps after she had already responded, temporal mechanics were giving her all four headaches. One of the octopi students raised a tentacle. Excuse me, but I believe we've accidentally proved that history is recursive. Would that affect your archaeological findings? Zixtal blinked all four eyes in sequence. How exactly did you prove that? Well, the octopus began, unfurling a series of equations that seemed to be written in interpretive dance notation. We were attempting to calculate the exact value of pi by measuring the circumference of historical events, and we discovered that most of history actually occurs simultaneously in a sort of quantum superposition of narrative causality. Another octopus chimed in, its tentacles typing on 7 keyboards at once. Also, we found these in the quantum foam. It held up what appeared to be a pair of socks. One of them had property of H. sapiens Tuesday timeline written on the label. Tom leaned over to examine the socks. Oh hey, I've been looking for those. Lost them during the great temporal laundry mix-up of... Well, I guess that's happening now. Or then, speaking of which, everyone duck. A washing machine materialized in the center of the room, spun rapidly while playing what sounded like jazz fusion, and then vanished again, leaving behind a confused-looking potted plant that was humming Stayin' Alive. And that, Tom announced proudly, is why you should always separate your whites from your quantum uncertainties when doing laundry. The dolphins nodded sagely, as if this explained everything. The octopi began taking notes in at least 4 dimensions. Zixtal decided to embrace the absurdity. So what you're saying is that the mythological status of humans might actually be due to you accidentally creating a temporal laundry loop that recursively influenced galactic development through strategic sock displacement? Finally! Tom beamed. Someone gets it. The dolphins took 3 centuries to figure that out, and they invented non-Euclidean spin cycles. One of the dolphins clicked in protest. In our defense, we were distracted by trying to teach quantum physics to the sea cucumbers at the time. Did you know they naturally understand string theory? Something about being living Calabi-Yau manifolds. Focus, everyone. Zixtal surprised herself by taking charge. We still need to fix the mathematical constants before the fabric of reality gets any more wrinkled. Tom, how long do we have? About -3 hours, give or take an infinity. He checked what might have been a watch, but looked more like a Klein bottle with numbers. The good news is that time being backwards means we've technically already solved it. We just need to figure out how we did it. That's not how causality works. Tell that to the quantum laundromat. Tom gestured at where another washing machine was failing to exist in several dimensions at once. Now, who's ready to learn about how humanity's poor laundry management skills accidentally created 3 alternate timelines and a pocket dimension full of dryer lint? The octopi waved their tentacles enthusiastically. The dolphins clicked in anticipation. The computer began composing what sounded like a quantum mechanically uncertain symphony about missing socks. And Zixtal, standing there with her inside-out socks and backwards-flowing thoughts, realized she was actually starting to enjoy the chaos. After all, how many xenoarchaeologists got to document history while it was actively rewriting itself? Computer, she called out, please make a note. Human influence on galactic development may be inversely proportional to their ability to keep track of their laundry. Note made. Though I feel compelled to point out that the correlation coefficient keeps changing every time someone observes it. Also, the note appears to have turned into a small jazz quartet. The jazz quartet, which appeared to be composed entirely of anthropomorphized mathematical constants, began playing what sounded like Take 5 in 17 simultaneous time signatures. Tom grinned. Now that's what I call peer-reviewed research. Should we tell them about the time we accidentally evolved a species of sentient fabric softener? One reality-bending revelation at a time, Zixtal advised. I think Pi is trying to adopt the dryer lint as a pet. And so the lecture continued, or would continue, or had already continued. The tenses were really more of a participatory art project at this point. But that's the thing about documenting human influences on the galaxy. Sometimes you have to let time flow like spilled coffee, and just enjoy the resulting mathematical jazz. Part 4. The Quantum Laundromat Strikes Back. The thing about sentient fabric softener, Tom explained while casually juggling 3 coffee cups that existed in superposition, is that it has very strong opinions about fashion. The octopi students were taking notes so frantically that their tentacles had tied themselves into quantum knots. The dolphins had given up trying to maintain proper temporal sequence, and were now conducting their calculations in interpretive dance form. Pi had finally stopped trying to divide itself by 0 and was now attempting to calculate its own emotional intelligence quotient. Zixtal, who had somehow ended up with 2 pairs of temporal annotations and a set of memories that hadn't happened yet, raised all 3 hands.
Wait, go back. Are you saying that the great fashion revolution of cycle 2300 was caused by...
Yep.
Tom popped the P sound in a way that made causality hiccup. Turns out when you accidentally evolve a species of consciousness-raising laundry products, they develop very strong feelings about proper fabric care. The whole liberation of synthetic fibers movement, that was just the beginning. One of the dolphins spun in its hoversuit.
Is this related to why the Galactic Fashion Council's headquarters keeps spontaneously rearranging itself into a giant washing machine every 3rd Tuesday? Oh, that's still happening? Neat! We thought we fixed that with the Great Temporal Laundry Treaty of next Thursday. Tom pulled what appeared to be a legal document from his pocket. It was written on fabric softener sheets and signed in detergent. Though I suppose if time's running backwards, we haven't actually signed it yet. Historical note. The ship's computer chimed in. The Great Temporal Laundry Treaty is considered one of the most significant documents in galactic history, despite technically not existing in any measurable time frame. Its most notable achievement was establishing the fundamental right of all sentient beings to proper fabric care, regardless of their dimensional phase state. An octopus student, who had been quietly proving that consciousness was just quantum laundry achieving self-awareness, raised a tentacle. Professor, is this why my thesis on the impact of non-Euclidean sock rotation on civilizational development keeps rewriting itself into a detergent commercial? Probably. Tom seemed delighted by this development. The Fabric Softener Collective has a pretty aggressive marketing department. Did the commercial at least have good production values? It was in 11 dimensions and featured a musical number about stain removal across parallel timelines. Oh yeah, that's one of their better ones. Won an award at the Interdimensional Advertising Awards. Or will win. Time marketing is tricky. Zixtal, who had been furiously updating her xenoarchaeological records, which were now somehow written in fabric care symbols, suddenly had a revelation. Hold on. Is this why every ancient civilization we've studied has some form of laundering ritual? Tom winked.
Now you're asking the right questions. Ever wonder why so many creation myths involve things emerging from cosmic waters? Or why there's always some kind of great flood story? Are you seriously suggesting that the fundamental mythological structures of every known civilization were influenced by a bunch of sentient fabric softeners' attempts to establish proper laundry protocols across space and time? Absolutely. Tom pulled out another sock from seemingly nowhere. This one had equations written on it in what appeared to be self-aware mathematical constants. Why do you think the bureaucratic collective is so obsessed with standardization? They're still trying to regulate non-Euclidean spin cycles. One of the dolphins performed a complex series of flips that, according to the quantum notation hovering in the air, translated to, "This explains so much about our research into cosmic background radiation. It's not the echo of the Big Bang. It's the sound of the universe's first wash cycle." The octopi began frantically rewriting their physics textbooks. Several of the books tried to escape, claiming they needed to be tumble-dried on low. But what about the swarm? Zixtal asked, thinking back to the stories of humanity's greatest victory. You still haven't explained how mathematical proofs and interpretive dance fit into all this. Ah, Tom's grin grew wider. That's where things get really interesting. See, the swarm had this really strict policy about dry clean-only entities. Before he could continue, reality hiccuped again. This time several washing machines materialized simultaneously, all of them playing different genres of music from different eras. A delegation of what appeared to be sentient fabric softener sheets floated through the room, carrying picket signs with slogans like "Equal rights for all fabrics" and "Make the galaxy soft again." Warning. The computer announced, "Temporal paradox detected. The Great Fashion Revolution appears to be occurring simultaneously with its own historical documentation. Also, Pi has successfully adopted the dryer lint and is requesting parental leave."
Oh dear, one of the dolphins clicked. I believe we've accidentally created a causality wash cycle. The octopi, who had by now derived a grand unified theory of quantum laundering, began calculating the spin speed of historical events. Their equations suggested that the universe was tumbling at a perfect cotton-friendly temperature. Zixtal watched as a group of mathematical constants formed a union and began demanding better working conditions.
Tom, please tell me you have a plan for this? Of course. Well, sort of. Kind of. Actually, this might be why we had to take that 500-cycle sabbatical in the first place. He scratched his head.
Time travel paradoxes are a lot like red wine stains. The harder you try to fix them, the worse they get. So, what do we do? Well, Tom grinned, pulling out what looked suspiciously like a cosmic fabric softener sheet. First, we're going to need to negotiate with the sentient laundry products. Then we'll probably have to reorganize the space-time continuum using advanced folding techniques. And somewhere in there, we should probably explain to PI that lint creatures need a lot of emotional support. Just then, a washing machine that looked suspiciously like it was made of crystallized time appeared in the center of the room.
The door opened to reveal what appeared to be... "Oh," Tom said brightly. "Look who's here. Everyone, meet the Temporal Laundry Union representative. They're here to discuss our violation of the yet-to-be-signed treaty regarding proper care of quantum fabric softener beings." Zixtal stared at the figure emerging from the temporal washing machine.
Is that the evolved form of the first fabric softener sheet humanity ever launched into space? Yes it is. And they have very strong opinions about the proper way to fold space-time. The Union representative unfurled itself majestically, emanating a fresh spring meadow scent and radiating an aura of infinite softness. When it spoke, its voice sounded like a perfectly balanced spin cycle. We need to talk about your temporal laundry habits. Also, someone has been using quantum bleach in the cosmic wash, and we specifically labeled that as dark matter only. To be continued, once we sort out this temporal laundry violation.